Hi guys, so I'm gonna talk to you about the great evils. Are you ready? Alright, we'll start with Entity Zero, Yaldabaoth, who is the great evil of idolatry, I guess. This creature is like a shadowy evil counterpart of the goddess of creation that appears to resemble a divine being that is like an amalgamate of all humanity's gods fused together into one and is crowned with a bloody halo. It was created by Lilith to lead the eight great evils as their general, and was made from ours, blind devotion and fanaticism in the name of various gods and causes. It believes it is the true creator of the world and often claims to be whatever god in the physical world is popular at any given time in history. Its mystic art is Cruel Thesis, which uses the power of false martyrdom through delusion to inflict dark, light, and electric damage. Cruel Angel Thesis. I just put that in there for a clever reference. And, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I was inspired by Persona 5 to come up with this one. How could you tell? Alright, Entity 1, Morning Star. The great evil of arrogance. Great evil of arrogance and entitlement. Alright, yes. Well, yes, I did it. I was inspired by, Cassette Beast to make this one. How can you tell? This creature resembles it resembles the Earth R legend that the Tempter, or the evil of the Tempter, or the evil one in various religions, and resembles things like a tree, like an apple tree, a goat, an angel, the sun, a Karen haircut, and a snake. Yeah, I put the Karen haircut in there because that's, what is, synonymous with arrogance and entitlement these days, unfortunately. It was created by Lilith from the hubris of man, especially that leads to seeing others as less than oneself and a lust for power and authority and influence, to use it to dominate and control others against their will, while making anyone who opposed them oppose them and they see as in a way as an enemy of something to be despised and hated. Its mystic art is temptation into the unholy, which it uses to poison all enemies with sweet-tasting poison, which causes confusion and fear, and deals dark and poison damage by using it. Dark whispers of temptation to lead people to cruelty and depravity. Oh, dang, wow. Alright, we got Entity 2 now. Schadenfreude. It's named after, kind of the concept of, taking pleasure in other people's pain, basically. It's a great evil of lust and obsession. This creature resembles flames, a giant rose, a succubus, and a cupid that is draped in chains. It was created by Lilith using knowledge of Earth R's evils, namely humanity's pleasure in inflicting pain upon others in the name of fun or pleasure, or in the name of personal gain or profit, or in the name of believing it's justified for whatever reason. It carries a massive whip with it that splits into 9 flaming chains laced with intoxicating poison of twisted pleasure, which it uses for its mystic art sadistic pleasure, which inflicts dark fire and wood element damage and can inflict charm. Oh no. Oh no, I actually made an Eldritch sadist. Oh no. I mean, it basically is based on sadism, I guess. Alright, entity number 3, Nimrod, the great evil of ignorance. This entity resembles a tower and a mighty hunter resembling a centaur fused with what looks like a great military leader and philosopher, yet on closer inspection, the foot is on the earth and it has a dunce cap on, and the tower is a cage and a prison for all the ignorance of Earth R's reality that Lilith imparted into its creation when she made it. It was spawned from the willful ignorance and blind delusion of mankind, as well as its rejection of knowledge and torpor and thoughtfulness and learning, especially in the face of people suffering, to the power it comes to hold over people. Such as, being blind to such as, for example, being blind to fear, which is being blind to, things like greed and how much it damages people in the world, basically. Yeah, basically I came up with this one. I came up with the great evil of ignorance because of anti-vaxxers. Yeah, I kind of lost somebody kind of close to me due to, those kind of beliefs, and it was mostly spread through willful ignorance, to be honest. Alright, enough about that, yeah. Its mystic art is false illumination, which deals light elemental damage and can inflict bind using a wicked eye that blinds all to lead them astray with the rejection of knowledge and understanding. Alright, now, on to entity number 4, Bitter Roots, which is the great evil of bitterness and envy. This entity resembles the massive thorns forged into a crown with an eye in the center and oozing with a swirl of poisonous water, as well as hidden snakes making up its main body tied together. It was created by Lilith using envious and jealous feelings on Earth R's reality. Yeah, if you don't know what Earth R is, it's basically the world where outerversal entities exist, and Earth I is the main universe where Indumati and everybody else lives. And Earth R is basically like an outerversal realm, which that's where, Lilith and all the great evils came from, because, somebody from that reality got a hold of, Indumati's, artwork, because it was living art in that world, and, kind of vandalized it and attempted to destroy it by basically making Lilith and using Lilith as an avatar to create the great evils. Yeah, just gonna put that out there. Alright, it was created by Lilith using jealousy and envious and jealous feelings of Earth R's reality, especially in wanting to tear others down or take advantage of others because one deserves more than others and wants to limelight on themselves only, thus leading to a cycle of resentment and mistreatment. The mystic art is Roots of Bitterness, which attacks with poison, water, and wood element damage and also inflicts poison by using thorns of bitterness and hostility that are often present in the mind of mortals. Alright, now on to entity number 5, which is Judgmentor, which is the great evil of injustice and oppression. This entity resembles a judge, a Dementor from Harry Potter, and a lawman carrying a large oversized gavel and covered in red blood on its dull gray and white outfit. It was created by Lilith using Earth R's reality's darkness, which are humanity's injustice and oppression, especially of those deemed beneath them and under the idea that they are evil and deserve it, or inferior to them, or while blinding people with false superiority. Yeah, so you kind of can understand what I'm getting at. Yeah, especially of the evils of, especially, I'm going to add something, especially of the evils of the system and how it justifies things, basically. Its mystic art is oppression shackle, which inflicts paralyze and deals dark and metal damage while weighing people down with the shackles of oppression and injustice. Alright, now on to entity number 6, which is Mammon, the great evil of greed and avarice. Oh, hey, I know some people who, have a great deal of greed and avarice. Those are top 1%ers, to be honest. Alright, now. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't know what Mammon is, it basically comes from the Bible. It basically means you cannot serve God, and also you cannot, serving, greed and self-interest, basically. Which is, very bad news for, crooked priests. That's kind of why they changed Mammon to a demon, basically. If I'm gonna be completely honest. Anyway, let's go on, shall we? This entity resembles various forms of currency and gems in kingly lordly robes and a crown of gold atop a big-nosed miser, with a cold stern look and a giant right claw made of gold that is modified with a cannon. Used by Lilith by using the darkness of the outer reality of Earth R, namely unchecked greed and exploitation in the name of profit and power, to crush the vulnerable and the poor and the sick under its uncaring heel as they suffer and are bled dry of every nickel and dime. Mammon's mystic art is Bubble Crash, which inflicts metal and darkness damage as an AoE attack on all enemies, using the fact that greed as a system will eventually burst and collapse and ruin all, which is Mammon's end goal for all under him. Yeah, greed kind of is a bubble, and it does, kind of crash, and when it does, it kind of crashes hard. You might have seen it with the Great Depression and all that. Yeah, I did learn about that in school, yeah. Yeah, it kind of, happened for kind of the same reasons why greed is, such a problem today and, how it's, basically oppressing people. Yeah, I might have had some resentment towards it, when making that. If I'm gonna be honest. Alright, now, on to entity number 7, War Machine. The great evil of hatred and violence. This entity resembles a biomechanical soldier fused with an amalgamate of various war machines, and has red-colored bloodstained hands and feet and sharp teeth, and wears an outfit reminiscent of various dictators on Earth R's reality from across the outer darkness that was given flesh and form by Lilith, using humanity's wrath and hatred and cruel and abusive tendencies, especially towards the weak and those that they deemed as their enemy or as wrongdoers, or as things they could enslave and exploit for their own gain. Its mystic art is violent impact cannon, which fires off metal fire elemental rounds that burn the earth with deadly nuclear hellfire explosions, which can also launch large rockets up in the air that come down a couple turns later that do big damage to one target. And these cannons are powered by the destructive rage and anger given explosive force. Basically wrath and vengeance and hatred kind of really make the world kind of a mess, don't they? Yeah, I did mention these were kind of inspired by... Yeah, you can see why these guys are kind of inspired by, humanity's kind of worst delusions, you see. That's kind of the idea behind them, basically, though. Alright, we have entity number 8, Cacophony Propagandist. This is the great evil of deceit. This entity resembles an amalgamate of newspaper, rag tabloids, computer and television technology that uses such as screens and cameras, and resembles a humanoid puppet. And its main head is a big mouth with bloody lips, cuts, and a big, wide, devious smile resembling the Joker. It was created by Lilith using the darkness from across the outer darkness of Earth R's reality. Namely, humanity's deceit and pretense towards good, and their malicious lies and accusations that they tell to destroy the lives of others, particularly when deceit and propaganda become a system that leads people to fight and die and kill under false pretenses. And lies told to people led to do it and carry it out. Its mystic art is distorting noise, which deals darkness and sound element damage and inflicts confusion, and is powered by malicious lies and accusations turned into negative psychic force that affects the mind. Yeah. This is basically the demon of Fox News, apparently. Yeah. Not that any of the other news networks are really any better. Yeah, it's kind of based on the idea that misinformation and propaganda are basically the force of deceit that, is kind of a very dark thing if you really think hard about it, yeah. So, yeah. Alright, now, on to entity number 9. Yeah, I did mention there's like 13 of these. Alright, this is technically the 10th one. Alright, entity number 9 is Dystopian Overlord, the Great Evil of Despair. This entity is made from the malicious enmity of Earth of entities 1 through 8's forms and powers, and given entity 0's power as a core, and it resembles an Eldritch, confusing, godlike being sharing fragments of entities 1 through 8's various physical forms, and made by Lilith as a last resort, should her greatest creations lose to be made into one singular force of ultimate evil that was made using the despair and hope art that of all the previous entities and their power caused through all the realities of Earth I as well as Earth R's in both imaginary and real spaces. As the power of evil drags all into hellish despair, as it triumphs over the world in its various forms to destroy the lives and lead on to a red haze of violence filled with deceit and madness and cruelty. Yeah, so basically it's like, all the other evils, they kind of, made a system that, is basically a system of oppression that kind of, leads people to, a very dark place, especially into, basically despair, basically rage and despair, basically. If I'm going to be completely honest. Its mystic art is dystopian world order, which it deals heavy dark element physical damage that can inflict random ailments on all targets, and is powered by and a testament to the cruel power of evil that led the world to the brink of ruin, while it rules like a cruel tyrant. Yeah, evil really is like a tyranny, isn't it? Alright, now on to the next entity, which is Entity 10, Glitch Code. Alright, Corrupted Code of the Unconscious. It's also the great evil of corruption, basically. This evil in Earth Eye's reality was created after the Box of Evils incident, in which some of the wicked and proud among the former gods who used to rule this world before their demise at the hands of the first Dark Lord Arachne, in which when the Box of Evils was opened, it infected all of humanity and their creations of tulpas. Yeah, I did mention tulpamancy was a big thing in the lore, and also I've talked about the Age of the Gods, basically. and all the worlds, yeah, as well as all the worlds created by the force of imagination and tulpamancy as a result, which became the concept of corruption, the air code of sin in the world that would infect each thought and each intent with the allure of its use of evil. The glitch code is found in a collective unconscious and must be healed in order to truly free the world from it and stop the corruption of all life for good. Its true art is Process Corruptor, which deals lethal, non-elemental magical damage to all enemies that must be protected against in order to avoid instant death, which is powered by and created from the corruption of humanity and of their psyche and imagination, which is lethal to humans and any being that is or was descendant of tulpas. You know, basically like Indumati and her friends. So basically it's like evil is kind of you know, basically a corruption in the psyche, basically, if that's what I'm gonna be, you know, honest about. Alright, now let's go on to the next entity, shall we? Entity I, Lilith, the great evil of fear. Alright, you know, the great queen of all evil. This entity is a creation of the evil universal entity Scrawler, and is a major overarching villain of the lore and all of its realities, and many, many evils are linked to it, and its creations and its vessel Lumina Night and her organization Red Moon. She appears as an amalgamate of all the fears and phobias of mankind, especially their greatest fears such as war and death and famine and suffering and oppression, as well as things such as the fears of the unknown and all their lesser fears given physical form, and is the antithesis of the goddess of creation and represents fear over imagination. All the great and minor evils inspire so much through both Earth Eye and Earth R, and what it leads people to become and be led into under her children's power. She is known as the Mother of Evil and the Queen of Darkness, hence her name being that of a mythological demon. Alright, she seeks to plunge all realities into the grip of fear and has the power to distort reality and the imaginary into worlds of fear and darkness. She was sealed long, long ago during the Dark Age when Scrawler made his move against the universe and first made her, and was imprisoned and she was imprisoned in the Red Moon by the goddess of creation, and the keys used to seal her were scattered in the hope she would never, ever become reawakened. But Lumina Night would not only defeat the goddess and gather the keys and seal the world canvases that act as a creation of each reality in order to chain them to Lilith for Red Moon's own goal of their hellish paradise coming true. But would awaken her, and it would be the greatest battle of all of Earth I would ever know that they could only truly stop with the power of silver, the power from Earth R's reality from across the boundaries of the universe. Her mystic art is Nuclear Nightmare of Hellfire, based on the idea that for every person who dreams up the electric light bulb, there will be another who dreams up the atomic bomb. So we're getting... you guys have seen Truck Boy and Lava Girl, right? That's basically where that's from. It's a line from Mr. Electric. Including the sums of all fears of humanity that can result in the end of the world and the age due to their own evils. Inflicts heavy dark, poison, and fire elemental damage, and also inflicts fear, despair, and confusion, and berserk as possible ailments. And the final entity. Entity R. Scroller. You know, the person that made Lilith and all the great evils, who is a great dark outer-versal entity. Although, to be honest, in his own world, he's actually fairly below average. Beyond the outer darkness is a realm where powerful beings that, while very average in their world with no special abilities like the beings in Earthwire, are still the dominant life form in their world, and they have the ability to affect the imaginary space, which Earthwire is one of possible imaginary spaces out of an infinite number of possible worlds made by such creatures in any given time, and they can, if they so choose, bring good or evil, or both, or neither. Scholar is one who brought evil. The reason he was the younger brother of a person who made Earth-Eye's reality, and had been heavily favored by their parents to the point of abuse and neglect of to the point that they would abuse and neglect to the point of abuse and neglect of the older brother, while Scholar would constantly lie, frame them for their own wrongdoings, get them in trouble, hurt them, harass them, break things, steal things, and even dominate the older brother. The creator's birthday, even dominate her older brother, the creator's birthday parties, to the point that their older brother had to share gifts, and had to have cakes that their brother liked, and parties the creator's brother wanted. Oh wow. Basically what happened is that Scroller basically was like, yeah, you can't get cakes unless they're ones that I like, and also you have to share presents with me, or I have to get them too. This all came to the head one day when they were at the creator's 18th birthday party, where the damage and spilled nature of Scroller would be revealed, as well as the favoritism of the creator and Scroller's parents. The creator was able, because of the blowout of that incident, to escape due to their grandparents and eventually would go on to become a successful artist and novelist, while Scroller would go on to eventually get kicked out for their abusive behavior, and would go on to cause the incident that would result in the Dark Age of Earth-Eye, in which they broke into the studio of the creator and used a red pen to create Lilith, and would deface and destroy some of the works and notes that the creator made for Earth-Eye, which the creator thankfully was able to fix most of it with his creation of the goddess of creation in order to repair Earth-Eye, using her as an avatar, while Scroller would be jailed and the damage would be done. Scroller and Earth-Eye would become a symbol of the destructive instincts of humanity. Alright, just to create things for the harm and destruction of other humans, as well as the instincts to vandalize and destroy things not their own, and to corrupt good things and good nature, with the creation of the eight great evils and their mother and their commander, as well as bring the source point of the glitch code. Scroller to Earth-Eye seems something unfathomably powerful, like a god they cannot fully understand or comprehend, much like the creator, and they can only see and interact with part of it that is leaving an impression on the world of Earth-Eye, and they can, however, see its hands in their space, with the red pen used to vandalize their world and create Lilith and her brood. The mystic art is calamitous creation, in which it censors the world in red bloody pen strokes that deal physical dark element damage and bring forth copies of previous villains fought so far, which won't be as powerful due to being a quick shadow of the power, due to not having a planned ahead of time, not being planned out ahead of time when they're made by Scroller. As its HP gets lower, so you can spawn in 2 or even 3 of these creations, are symbolic of both his vandalism as Earth-Eye, as well as humanity's humanity, since they create calamitous and ruinous things to push them over the edge of harm, corruption, and destruction. Well, in all seriousness, it's like people have a choice between if they want to create something beautiful and good, or do they create something, destructive and bad. And also, what happens when, when certain works of, good people fall into the hands of, those that wish harm, basically. And, kind of see it as more of a cash cow rather than, something that they're actually passionate about. Or, when they decide, hey, I'm gonna corrupt it because of spite, I guess. Which is kind of more what Scrawler basically did. Anyway, I will see you later. Remember to play games and have fun, and I will see you in the next Remember. Alright now. And that has been the Great Evils. All 13 of them. I mean, I know we started off with 0. But I had a very good reason for it, yeah. Anyway, I'll see you later. Remember to play games and have fun. Okay, bye-bye now.